Alrighty. Alright, YouTube. Let's be thankful for a new change of scenery. This is totally reversed from how my webcam when I'm recording videos in Movie Maker does. So it's going to take a little bit of getting used to see my chair on the right side of the screen instead of the left side. Because it actually is to the right when I'm pointing at it, but when I was watching myself in my camera from Movie Maker, it was over here. So this is more or less of a perfect recreation of where things are in my space, whereas the other one's more of a mirror image. So before we begin, Banjo and Kazooie are finally an amiibo. I'll keep this around in case some of you show up late and don't get to see it on time, but knowing that the bear and bird are in Smash just means so much to me. Now, a lot of people have wanted me to live stream for a while now, so let me post this on my Twitter. See if that helps people realize that it exists. I hope I did that right. If I didn't, I hope one of you will teach me what to do. What I did was I clicked on the URL, and then it worked before, and then I did Control+C to copy it, and then I pasted it on a tweet. So let's hope that works. I've got a nice big glass of water. So I think I'll be able to stream for at least probably an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on when people get here and how the day goes. Because obviously I'm probably going to want to eat dinner at some point. I never know how to pronounce his name. Solok just made a new video called A Critical View of Mario Kart Wii, and I never actually reviewed that game on my channel, so I'd like to see what I've been missing out on all these years, because my memory seems to be failing me. So, as you can see, my audio's choppy. Oh, that stinks. I think it might be because I'm in the basement. Let me try replugging this. One moment. Alright, how's that? Let me see. Maybe I can turn up the volume here. That could explain it. Alright, I've got my mixer and system volume all the way up. Let me check. Nope, no, that's not it. That stinks. That really stinks. Well, hello, JP. I guess I can always type. I actually just mentioned you in a video that I finished filming right before I went live, where I talked about how I really appreciated you just coming by and saying that you still exist. And Banjo and Kazooie, the amiibo, came out. So I'm really happy about that. What's been... There we go. Let's change that. I have one more idea about how to potentially fix my audio. Let me try that after I get this webcam back in position. This is stupid. Oh, good. Thank you, Lunar Octopus. I wouldn't say it's new per se, because I've lived in this house since, I think it was October or September. But I definitely realized that this is a good place to film without people getting annoyed. I think that's as best as it's going to get. My webcam doesn't have the best suction cups or ways of supporting itself. Okay, so Lunar Octopus, can you hear me okay? Because originally JP was saying that my audio stunk, or was choppy. So if you guys can't hear me well, I can try unplugging my headphones and just talking into my computer speaker. Oh man, Wi-Fi is only at 3 bars. Hopefully that's good enough. Because my image quality seems to be consistent. Oh, that explains it. That explains it. Okay. I think I figured out what caused it to be choppy, guys. I think it was because um, I was finishing making a movie maker video. Now that my movie maker video has finished processing, does that make it better? Yeah, because I had just finished filming another video with a similar title, and then I went right into this while the movie maker thing was still processing. I might have to change this to part 1 if I really have to go upstairs. Let's hope for the best. Well, I guess the only way I'm going to know if I have good audio or not is just to keep talking for the time being. So, yeah, not a problem. The fact that you came at all is amazing. So thank you very much, JP. You have a great day. So, this video was meant to be like a counter to a video that I'm going to upload later. The irony is that I said that this stream in that video would be a future stream, yet I'm making the stream before I uploaded the video. So the irony of time travel. Basically, I've been out of depression since 2016. This month marks 5 years exactly since I got out of depression. Excuse me. And it's hard to maintain positivity after you've been miserable for so many years. So I wanted to, I guess, tell you guys some of my secrets for how I'm like still able to be happy and optimistic and not give up on life. Now, that's not to say I don't have bad days, because there are definitely days where I'm upset. There are definitely days when I cry, though I don't cry as much as I used to anymore. Like, I think on average, the most I cry nowadays is like once every 5 months. Like, you really, really, really have to push me to get me to shed tears. And it's not because I believe in the masculine stereotype of men aren't allowed to cry. It's just that now that I'm out of depression, I don't see things with such a bleak outlook anymore. I think it's just I haven't been upset enough to cry all that much. And then the times that I do feel like crying, I guess my tear ducts have like teared out most of my tears from the depression. One of my biggest secrets to maintaining positivity after the depression is that I guess you could say, now that I'm actually in front of the camera, I'm actually losing the words. Maybe I'm getting a bit of stage fright for once. That doesn't normally happen, but I would say faith in God is probably the biggest thing. And I know that sounds so cliche, like, oh, Paul, of course you're going to say faith in God. You can't just give an actual logical answer. Lunar Octopus, if you can, keep giving me a progress report and or tell me how you're doing in the meantime, because I obviously can't hear myself. On my feedback screen, it looks totally fine. So you got to let me know how well I'm doing in case I have to relocate. But the fact is that I never, ever, ever stopped believing in God. Like, even when things were getting dark, when, I had to quit my job because I was moving and I was getting into the double digits in my bank account, in the back of my mind, I kept saying, yes, this stinks. But at the same time, I'm not going to give up on God's plan. I'm going to trust that He will get me out of this, and He will allow me to, I guess, He'll allow me to find some kind of silver lining. Like, He's not just going to leave me to stew in misery. And yes, there have definitely been some challenges adjusting to this new place. Like, I currently don't have any friends in the area. Like, I have friends. I probably have more friends than a antisocial homeschooler should, but most of my existing friends have to drive for at least an hour to get over here. As far as local friends, I mean, I have local people that I like, but I wouldn't say they're friends. Like, there's my swim coach at the swimming pool. Yes, she's amazing and mature, but she's also a minor, and I kind of have to be careful with how I interact with minors just because of all the scandals and rules. I have to make sure that I'm not a criminal. But as far as someone my own age that I could interact with regularly, not really. But I'm also not in particularly a hurry to get local friends just because my existing friends are all already so faithful. That's another big thing, is having that steady support group was probably one of the biggest factors in maintaining positivity. I I guess like I keep in touch with pretty much everyone that I can, and if I don't keep in touch with people, it's usually because they're the one that broke off contact with me first. So a lot of times I take into account, or not take into account, the word I'm looking for is I tend to have like this checklist of like amazing people in my life. And I'm not the type of person that just weeds out who is insignificant. I sort of keep that in the back of my mind at all times. And that's been able to help me stay positive. And I really don't know how to explain it in a better way besides just I don't typically forget about people in my life. I don't typically, yeah, I mean, I used to be a lot more shy. And I think to a certain extent I still am, just because I'm always afraid that someone might take my words as like potentially criminal or potentially pedophilic, even though I'm just talking. But I think if those didn't exist, I'd probably be like insanely outgoing and want to talk to everyone. That's why a lot of people, when they see me at conferences, they think I'm an extrovert because they're like, oh my gosh, Paul, you're just so happy and you're skipping down the halls. It's because everyone there is Catholic. Everyone there sees the certification on the lanyard around my neck, and they say, okay, this guy has been screened and proven to be trustworthy. So if they have eyeballs, which most of them do, I haven't really been to a conference with a blind person, they're able to see, okay, well, obviously the people wouldn't let him into the conference if he was a criminal. That would be something that they'd say, I got to review your history. But knowing that I've got great friends and knowing that I've got great family has helped me to, I guess, like always know who to turn to if things get really bad. So, like, I can call up one of my friends, well, text up a lot of them, because I guess that's one weakness of a lot of my friends is that they're not really the spontaneous phone talkers. They usually have to have me plan in advance when I'm going to talk to them, which I guess that's semi-understandable. If they have stuff like work or if they want to take a nap or things like that, obviously I wouldn't want to disrupt them of that. But at the same time, I also really appreciate it when people exist where I can just be like, yo, you up for a talk? And they say, sure, why not? Yeah, I think I just have to get used to the fact that the majority of people have a certain pleasure in being busy, and I just have to be okay with that. Whereas for me, I've always found that being too busy is not good for your energy levels. And so I'm always aware of like what my body is telling me. And when my body is saying enough is enough, it's time for you to think about your own health over trying to overplease others. So that's why I usually like I'm not the kind of person that's constantly searching for like what makes me happy, what makes me sad. I'm usually pretty aware of all that. And I said that in my other video about how I'm becoming a positive YouTuber. But that's also how I'm a positive person is constant self-awareness. Lunar Octopus, I'm sorry for being so rude. I forgot to ask, is your day going okay? Assuming that you want to talk about it. Also, did you see my Banjo-Kazooie amiibo? This actually only cost $15. Like, that's a steal for something this rare. Rare. Get it? Because Rareware is the company that made Banjo-Kazooie. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. I can't believe I set myself up for that joke. But yes, how's your day been going? Assuming you want to talk about it. If you don't, just say like, keep it to yourself, Paul. But yeah, this is a bit of a different scenario for me to be talking in. I'm normally more of a night owl. EMT, does that mean you're like a nurse slash doctor? Or am I thinking of no, EMT stands for emergency medical training, right? So are you like a paramedic or something? That's cool, because I have quite a few friends that are in either nursing professions or they're used to seeing people's bodies. And so I think that's one thing that's really a blessing is that my friend circle, for the most part, isn't squeamish. And so if I'm having trouble with my health or with body image, they can usually say, like, yeah, Paul, what you think is weird is actually just 100% normal. Oh, wow. So you're actually going to be like one of those lifesaver type of peoples. That was terrible grammar, but I think you know what I was trying to say. That's so cool. Hey, keep me posted on that the next time you see me in a live stream or a comment. Like, let me know how you're progressing in your studies and like if you've actually managed to do your dream. Yeah, that sounds awesome. As for me, a lot of people ask me like, Paul, what is your dream for the future? Honestly, I'm living it right now. I think where I'm at right now is a very content place. Now, that's not to say it's perfect. I'm starting paid job training in a week or two, give or take, once I sign the papers. So it would be nice if I actually had decent income. So obviously that's not the ideal, but I'm on the way to getting that income. My birthday is coming up on the 20th of April, and for my most loyal fans, I plan on announcing my age. For now, I'll just say I was old enough to play Twilight Princess on the GameCube on launch day. So that can be a little bit of a hint. And if you can't figure it out from there, then oh well. And so I guess you could say, like, by not having a dream, that enables me to stay happy in the moment. And that's probably also why I've been able to stay so positive for the last 5 years, is that instead of trying to be overly ambitious of like, I must do this or I must pursue this goal, I just say, what am I doing right now that makes me happy? And I continue doing it. And if something else comes along that also makes me happy, then I seize the moment and I take it. And if I see something that means that it may possibly be a disaster, I just say, let's get away from this and let's not torture myself by being around something that I hate. That actually also applies to this channel as a whole. Like, back when I first started doing video game reviews, I had a tendency to want to review just about everything that I beat just for the sake of it. And while I still kind of do that, we're like, there's a certain joy in having a checklist of like how many games I have actually seen the credits for. But I've also taken the time to really like analyze the descriptions of a game and read what the eShop has to say and say, do I really want to play this or am I just reviewing it because no one else will? That's why I finally stopped giving up on reviewing late Wii U games. Because at the time, it was a novel concept to be like, there's Wii U games in 2019 and I'm the only one reviewing them. But they're so awful that I was miserable while I was playing them. And so I realized that is not making me happy. Even though I am the only one doing it, I'm not pleased. And so now I think most of the video games that I've reviewed are games that I actually really enjoy. And that's why it was a lot harder to make my Linux. What exactly is that? Is that like a computer system? Because my favorite videos tend to be reviews. So if you make reviews, I will definitely be binging your channel if you make good enough Nintendo reviews. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so like when I made my worst games of 2020 list, that was actually harder to make because I had told myself, like, starting in 2020, I'm going to try really hard to stay away from terrible games. And as a result, a lot of games that when I originally reviewed them, I actually thought were good that I had to put on the bad list. Just because I had reviewed so few games to begin with, that I was like, okay, something has to go on the worst games of 2021 list, and this game is just average. And there were only like a small handful of actually bad games. This year, it looks like I might be doing the same thing because 2021 has been a bit slow, but what do you expect? It's the beginning of the year. Oh, interesting. Because I always thought Linux was like a company. Like, I'm so behind on modern technology. Like, I don't think I can list a single Google Stadia game off the top of my head. Like, really, the only company I keep up with nowadays is Nintendo. And even then, a lot of people think that I like to play video games as video games, or that I'll just blindly support Nintendo, when both of those statements are untrue. First of all, there are quite a few video games that I don't like, and there are quite a few video games that I won't even bother trying. Like, I've only reviewed 2 Pokemon games, just because I don't like Pokemon. I don't like that. Oh, wow! I'm surprised it's still going so strong. I don't really like real-time strategy games. I don't play anything that Nintendo doesn't make. Every now and then I'll dabble in something just because I played it before and it's like, well, it's not on Nintendo, so I guess I'll play it. Like, my sister has Sonic Generations for the 360, and since it's a totally different version than the one on the 3DS, there's a certain level of satisfaction of being able to play another version of Sonic Generations. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to wrap it up because it looks like my house is being invaded. But thanks very much for watching, and hopefully I can find a better time to live stream in the future. Alright, well, until the next time, folks, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless,